But you know what I think? I think it's very simple. In the 2000s, studies were done showing that liberals were having about 1.5 kids and conservatives were having two kids. It's like 1.43 to 2.01 or something like that. That meant conservatives were replacing themselves and liberals were not. Fast forward 23 years later, what do you get? Pew Research shows that Gen Z is slightly more conservative in some areas.
Interesting.
For the first time in 100 years, a generation in some areas more conservative than the previous. I don't believe that means Gen Z had a wake-up call. I think it means conservatives have more kids, so there's more conservative Gen Z kids. Now you take a look at the issue of abortion and child sex change surgery, and I said this to our leftist guest last week. Look, I'm not a pro-life conservative. You're not going to hear that from me. You want to sterilize and abort your children? That just means the future's conservative. So have fun, I guess. I tweeted this out, something to the effect of, somewhat facetiously, the left aborting their kids is they're making a sacrifice for a better future, a conservative future. I'm saying it as a joke to make a point, and I show the stats. Trump supporters have one more kid, I believe, about one kid on average more than non-Trump voters. What do you think that's going to mean in 20 years? 18 years from today, they will be voting if they're born today, and there's more conservatives. The more the left starts aborting their kids and fancies abortion up to 9 months, no matter what conservatives do, the future becomes conservative. I think it's admirable that conservatives are desperately trying to save the lives of their political rivals who they genuinely don't like. But if the vote goes down to, abortion is going to be legal, the end result is just give it 20 years, give it 40 years. 2 generations from now, it's going to be 2-to-1 conservative to liberal.
If we still have a country. And we can still vote.
Yep. And so it'll get really interesting.
I feel like we have about a year and a half to save things, Tim.
I think we're going to make it through. I think the night is always darkest before the dawn. But
I just worry that if things are looking too positive for Trump, you heard that soundbite from Biden a couple of weeks ago. It's like, we will not let him, come back into power.
They mean it.
They'll do something and they try to throw.
Well, they entertained
what happened
secession.
in 24.
In 2020, there was a war game, Boston Globe reported on this, where they basically played a political version of Dungeons and Dragons, as it were, where they all came together and said, okay, I'll pretend to be Trump, you pretend to be Hillary, and then they rolled die to see what would happen. And I think it was John Podesta or someone pretending to be Trump, or I'm sorry, someone pretending to be Hillary, said that if Trump wins in 2020, they will advise Washington, Oregon, and California to secede from the Union.
Oh, my gosh.
That's in the Boston Globe. That was part of their view of what they should do as Democrats if Trump were to win.
Oh, my gosh.
So when we talk about national divorce or civil war or whatever, they say, oh, we're the extremists. And I'm like, the idea came from you when you said the West Coast should secede from the Union if Trump wins. And I got to be honest, based on the things I think these people have done, I would not be surprised if they wanted at least one state to secede so they could have an emergency escape bunker. I think Donald Trump should, the first thing he does when he gets reelected, I hope he appoints a real attorney general who immediately begins filing criminal indictments against anyone in government, bureaucrat or elected official, where there is evidence of crime. We've got insider trading in stocks, indict. No more of this, but we have a delicate system and we should. No, if they're criminals, if there's provable criminal acts, charge them. I don't care what party they are. We need to actually take this country, take this stuff seriously.
Are you seeing what's happening in El Salvador? I think they went from being the murder capital of the world to the say. There's been no murder
in a year.
No murders.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is what we need to do. We need to go hard on the criminals, the people who are committing crimes. I don't care if they're, like you said, SEC violations or street crime. We've got to come down on it. In San Francisco, you have to have a security guard hired to watch your car if you're going to park a car. I mean, we saw the CNN. That was, irony, quite a bit of irony there with the CNN car.
And they're acting shocked by it.
And they said, and we had a security guard there. We are.
He watched.
Is that what it was? He watched, or did
he saw it happen, or something like that? Like, oh, they're smashing the window and stealing the stuff.
He's probably like, I'm not going to get hurt.
Well, no, you'll go to prison.
Yeah.